Let's check out what the major FX pairs are doing ready for next week. A very good evening to you traders. This is Mark. Welcome to your daily trading video. Let's have a quick scan through coming into next week, ECB and all sorts of stuff like that, where we are in the major currency pairs. Obviously, US dollar yen's got nothing to do with ECB, but let's just have a look at this nevertheless. You know, we are struggling, or the yen is struggling to break out of this 104.50 level, but it's not rolling over yet. I'm kind of waiting for this little tiny 5-day uptrend to break, to give us a real good confirmation that it's time to roll over. You know, from the bearish perspective, that 104.50 is holding and it's really struggling to get through it. I think we've got to sort of 68, but it keeps attempting to push back up on it. You know, I would assume that if we do break that little uptrend there and we can get some sort of catalyst, then that does open up a retest of that 100 at some point. But at the moment, it is bull flagging. You've got to look at it in the perspective that we have broken out of here and it is bull flagging. So it's a tricky one. I think the risk reward's okay here. Maybe better being aggressive if it really starts to roll over, but then again you might miss the meat in it. But that's an interesting one. It's a lot going on with that at the moment. Of course, we know Kuroda saying all sorts to give it a bit of flavour and a bit of spice in one direction or another. Let's take a look at cable, because the pound is in play. This is just continually weak. We talked a little bit about this in the last few minutes of the video yesterday. It's just coming up to this resistance level on the 15-minute chart, and it just can't really push high. Every attempt it does, it just keeps rolling over. So, pound is well and truly under the cosh at the moment. The bears are fully in control of this. Every kind of move to the upside gets hit. We haven't even had a solid green candle since the last flash crash without giving a lot back. So definitely that's looking like a weak market. It's just a case of, does it roll over and aggressively hit that 120 some point next week, or can it tread water for a little bit? But in perspective, that's weak and it continues to be weak. Euro US dollar still in this big range. We've broken out of this little short-term range that we had. It's been off my radar for a bit. We broke out of this, which was, quite a clean breakout, pause and below. But really, in perspective of the bigger picture, we are still in this kind of 2-year range. We're now right at the middle of it, literally in the middle of where the low was in 2015 and the high was in 2015, 2016. We are smack bang in the middle of it. So, we need something to kick off to push us out of that one way or the other. Draghi is speaking on Wednesday, I believe, and of course, with the conference and the ECB as well just prior, so that may give it a little bit of kick, but it really needs a little bit more spice to that. Let's take a look at the pound yen, because that as well, anything with a pound in the front of it on the currency pairs is in trouble. Again, it's the same type of thing. It's just every time it tries to push back up, it's just a sell, and that's the opinion I've got of it. Basically, any push up needs to be sold. I'd rather have a bit more of a push up that fails, but you can't deny that at the moment this is a pretty weak pair. It's really gone down and almost tested that level that we had with the little mini flash crash. So considerably weak, continues to be weak. It's going to take a lot for that to undo. I'm sure we're going to get some sort of counter trend rallies, but with the whole Brexit thing going on, that continues to be bad news. Then there's going to be pressure on that. I guess one thing that could change sentiment intermediately is if we have some sort of concessions from the EU that says, yes, you can have some access to this, or that make things a little bit easier for us. I guess that we can get a couple of day pop in the pound if we do get that. So that's something to watch the news-wise for. But until we get that, the pressure is most definitely down. Let's take a look at Aussie US dollar and US dollar CAD, and then we'll call it a day. Aussie US dollar seems to be sticking to these resistance levels pretty key. They're pushing up, can't get through that 0.77. It's tried multiple times throughout the summer and really hasn't. Where's the trade in this? Who knows? I'm not really a fan of this pair. I know some of you guys just trade it exclusively, actually, along with the NZD. I guess you've got a little downtrend there, and we're popping out of that now. If it holds well today, maybe that opens up a little push to the upside. But it's relatively neutral when you put things into perspective. Let's have a look at US dollar CAD. This is another one which is just really, really sticking to these resistance levels. I guess the strategy with this has always been, if you can sell at 132 to 133 and don't mind scaling in with a stop sort of high above here and playing the fact that range is never broken, that's been quite a profitable trade for you. or sticking it sort of in the midpoint and then having a stop around there, doing that several times, okay. But I think a better one would be to scale the position with a relatively small amount and then have a stop above there and just keep playing that range. To the downside, we've started to break out this little trend a little bit. Maybe it's time to test that 130 at some point. But again, that's a reasonable support as well. We did break through it back in end of August, wasn't it? Then push back up. That was probably a meaningful trade if we get that. So perhaps if we break through and hold, there's a little short opportunity there on the scalp side. If we don't, maybe we break through and we do a wick, then probably it's a 100-point bounce back to that 131. So lots of stuff going on. I think US dollar again is my favourite, and pound US dollar are my favourite chart-wise. But some spice next week, hopefully, that will give these a little bit of a kick one way or the other. So, hope a great trading week, guys. I shall be back with another video on Monday. Have a great weekend. Take care.